just use my manual. I can't get in mine.
You ready? Good. Good. All right. Good evening, everyone. Get this meeting started. Roll call, please.
Yes. Council members Garcia, Lara,
Here.
Lutz,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Dr. Sanchez,
Present.
Mayor Camacho.
Here.
All here.
And to our city manager, any changes to the agenda?
Mayor, I think item number 16, we're going to still hear the presentation, but I think we're going to continue that to the next available meeting. I'll wait for direction from council.
So we're pulling item 16? Okay. For a presentation. Very well. With that, I'd like to ask all to rise and ask our Councilmember John Garcia to lead us in the invocation.
Heavenly Father, as we are assembled here today, may you bless this meeting. As we discuss the business at hand, may you guide us to the proper and correct solutions that have been brought before us today. We pray for the ability to see clearly the directions we need to take for the care and the well-being of our community. As we look with new vision, may our serving, caring, and sharing be unto us a life service. Amen.
Amen. I'd like to ask our Commissioner Gil Perez to lead us in the flag salute.
Can we all face the flag, please? Place your right hand over your heart and repeat after me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you both. And I'd like to recognize our commissioners here with us in attendance. We have Justin Smith from our Planning Commissioner. Thank you for being here, Justin. And we have Gil Perez from our Veterans Commission. Thanks for being here, and thanks for the flex, salute, Gil. Appreciate it. With that, we're going to start off with presentations by first providing a proclamation. So, what was it, Mayor Pro Tem, about a couple weeks ago? The Pico Water District celebrated their 100th anniversary of existence. And so, the city of Pico Rivera was founded in 1958, and we're about 68 years old. So the Pico Water District definitely has been around much longer than the city's incorporation, and we joined the celebration over at the WRD facility a couple of weeks ago, which, by the way, was a great event, a lot of history that I didn't even know about. So it was nice you put together a really nice presentation, illustrated the beginnings of Pico Water District. And one of the things that Mayor Pro Tem and I went up to congratulate, but we didn't show up with our award, our recognition. So, but we still wanted you to come so the community can value what has happened here. I know you invited us some time ago to join us, and we did. But one of the things that we said that, the Pico Rivera, even though we have our own Pico Water Authority, Pico Rivera's existence is because of the foundation that Pico Water District has done, And so we appreciate that because we are who we are as a city based on the foundation that Pico Water District put together and made us where we are today. So, we look to bring up the board members. If I can, Raymond, we got Pete Ramirez, who is a former mayor as well here in the city, and we have also our David Angelo and our general manager, if he can join us up here as well. You go all the way around, yeah. As something we want to, like I was mentioning, these are, senor? This is an organization, elected officials. Unless you live in an area where you elect Pico Water District board members, they are elected body. Once again, the oldest elected body here in the city of Pico Rivera. And to be able to accomplish such 100 years I think it's something to recognize, and I think it was important for us to, as a city council, as a community of Pico Rivera, to make sure that we recognize them as well, not only for what they've done, but for the partnership that we have and the people that we represent in the city of Pico Rivera. Because the goal is the same, is to make sure we have clean, reliable water for residents that is safe. And I believe that both entities have accomplished that and will continue to do what we can. I know the state keeps giving us more and more rules that we're not always in agreement with, but nonetheless, if it's for the betterment of our residents to have cleaner and better potable water, that we're all for it and we do it. So on behalf of the city of Pico Rivera, on behalf of the city council members, I want to present to you a proclamation to the Pico Water District for your 100th anniversary of existence and to the next 100 years as well. So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Take a picture. Sure. Please.
Go right ahead.
Right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now can I have one with just the board?
Thank you.
I have a microphone here. Oh.
You want to take a closer picture?
1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's hear a few words from them.
My name is Raymond Rodriguez. I'm currently serving as the president of the board of the Pico Water District. I humbly serve as the president on behalf of all the board members. We have 3 of us here today. 2 of us couldn't make it, and our general manager and staff. We greatly appreciate the recognition by the city of Pico Rivera. Longtime residents here, the board members, 3 of us, and we look forward to strengthening our partnership, and I mean that wholeheartedly. And we look forward to seeing how we can continue to provide the city, like you said, with the cleanest potable water that we can at the best possible way we can do it, modernizing our infrastructure, whatever we can do. We're looking forward to that, as I know the city is doing the same thing. But we humbly and respectfully thank you for the proclamation and the acknowledgement. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I think that's appropriate.
As a as a ratepayer of the Pico Water District and also a former director on the board, I've always believed this, that the basic function that any community can do throughout time is protecting their water source for their community. And Pico Water District has done that now for 100 years. And it represents residents coming together and choosing to serve and to do that in an honest, transparent, and honorable way. And having sat on that board and then knowing these gentlemen and knowing the ladies that work in the office and knowing the field staff, we're blessed as a community to have such people working on our behalf to make sure that they're providing clean, drinkable water at a good price. And I know that a lot of sweat, a lot of equity, and a lot of mental energy is put into that, into improving our infrastructure, providing good jobs for those that are employed, but yet also providing a reasonable price. So I thank you, gentlemen, for always doing that. Joe, thank you for taking the lead as a general manager. There's problems, but it's not problems, in my opinion, that are internal. It's a lot of times problems that are external, aged infrastructure, and then also regulations that come down that also put a burden on the water district. So, but thank you, gentlemen. It's here, 100 years.
I just want to say congratulations, guys, and thank you for inviting me as well. Mayor and I were able to attend the 100th anniversary celebration at the WRD. It was gorgeous event, and like I said at the event, you guys are looking good for 100 years old.
Stop wishing them happy birthday.
I
have decades.
And I had proposed to present the certificate at the Del Rey, but Mayor insisted we come here. So thank you, congratulations, and thank you for inviting us as well. Thank you.
Very nice to have you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Angela hit a softball. When you see them over in Rio Vista. Okay, thank you. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Many moves go by, but I almost served
Okay, we're good. All right, well, thank you for that. Thank you, Pico Water District. With that, we do have another presentation regarding the Pico Rivera procurement policy. City Manager?
Yes, Mayor, City Council. Tonight I'll have Director Noe Negrete do the presentation. If you recall, Councilmember Garcia requested item seconded by Laura to bring this item for discussion as far as our policy as it relates to the selection of West Coast in a previous item. Noe? No, it's your password.
There we go. Microphone is on now. Thank you. So we're here today to give you a presentation on our procurement policies. In particular, we're looking at when and why we use either piggybacking or cooperative purchase agreements. Let me go back here one more slide. For the piggybacking procurement in the overview, we always want to make sure it's legal, right? We always want to make sure that it passes various strategic importance, like transparency, efficiency, fiscal responsibility. We want to make sure that we're using the right tool. In this case, we're talking about the piggyback for the West Coast Arborist contract. So the purpose of today's meeting and this presentation is to go over when and why we use these different tools. Okay, so we have many things we procure in the city, and we have a different toolbox for each of those things. We always want to make sure that you understand in terms of what those tools are. I always want to make sure those are passing the litmus test for legal. And we're going to talk about our roles as a staff and when and why we go use those different processes. Okay, so one, we want to make sure it's legal, okay? Anything we purchase or procure, whether it be an agreement for services or a contract, we always want to make sure that we're following our own code. So in our municipal code, chapters 3.20 and 3.48 establish what those requirements are. We also have state, since we're part of the state of California, there are state code sections. And as you recall, we recently updated our procurement policies for the city that changed some of the limits in terms of what we're allow and don't allow. And again, any and all procurements, what we're trying to do is we're trying to make sure that there's transparency, We want competition, right? So we want a good price. We want fiscal responsibility in terms of to the residents that we're spending our money in a responsible fashion. And we want fairness, right? Because we want people to bid for us. If people are continually bidding for us and we're continually giving it to, say, the one bidder, they're probably not going to bid for us in the future because they're saying, hey, that city's not being fair. They're not being open to give us an opportunity to try to bid in that city. Okay. So just let me talk more about just in your own homes, first of all, because the city, we do a lot of crazy things here that are high dollar limits, but if you take it about to your home now, in your home you have projects you do at your house as well. And I think everybody wants to pay the least price, right? I mean, raise of hands if anybody wants to pay the highest price. Nobody, right? You haggle with your contractor to try to get the lowest price. How do you know it's the lowest price? You try to get more than one bid, right? Otherwise, you don't know, right? And then how do you know the contractor is good? Well, you try to ask them for a license. Many of us will go to a neighbor or somebody else who's used them and get a reference. And that's what we do in essence, is we will ask our neighbors too if there's a reference in terms of that prior work that's been done. Best reference is if they've done work for us and we're happy with that work, then usually we try to hire them again. But unlike at your house, where there's no compliance rules, right? There's not the state coming down on you and say, hey, you didn't follow 3 bids, or you didn't follow the code section 3.20 or 3.48. You can essentially hire who you want. We don't have that option. We have to follow certain protocols. Even if I want to hire somebody or if I like their price, there's still a process that we go through. So I want you to remember that is there's always a process that we go through. We're never just picking somebody randomly. It's always a vetted process. So in our toolbox, these are our foremost used tools, is when we have competitive bidding for projects. There's informal competitive bidding and a formal competitive bidding, and all this follows the public contract code. Now, we use a subset of that called the Uniform Cost Accounting Guidelines, which is a streamlined version of the public contract code that allows us to do things a little bit faster. And that's where those numbers come from. Every 3 to 4 years, they update that policy by the state, and that number seems to go up. Probably dating myself, when I first started, it was about 150, and it's now grown to 220. So anything under 220 is an informal process. And I won't bore you with that, but there is certain parameters that we have to follow to make sure that we can still do that project up to that price. A formal project is probably what you're used to seeing more here in where we go out to bid with contractors. Most of our projects are over 220, and we go through a formal bidding process. We vet them, check their references, take the low price and bring that to you and to award that contract for them to go build either a road or a facility for us. Sole source purchasing, we try not to use that sparingly, but again, there is a place for that when there's a justification. So there's a sheet that we work with finance on in terms of has to be reasons why we have a sole source justification, a lot of the reasons is either compatibility with it could be like an IT compatibility. It could be that they're the only provider of that service or of that piece of material. And the last one is what we call a cooperative or a piggyback purchasing. And we'll go into more details on that in the following slides. But again, we do have our city code and state code that allow us to do that. And I'll go into more details, but in essence, it's somebody else has already done that process for us. And then we are just using their process that we go through and vet that make sure that it meets all of our standards, first of all. And then we award that contract based on that. And we'll get into reasons why we do that. Okay, our responsibility as a staff. Again, we just don't wake up one day and say, hey, let's do this, right? I don't look through contracts or look through cities council agenda reports and say, hey, I like this contract, let's get them. We don't normally do that. There's a whole process of things that we need to look at. This is in particular for professional services. So for today, you do have a couple of items on the consent agenda that are looking at professional services and how we award that. Let's see here. Those are items 12 and 13. There's 2 professional engineering contracts that we're asking you to award tonight. And I could say almost every meeting we award something following these processes and following this toolbox. and we bring you that to vote on. For the professional services procurement, we need something that's in writing, which is a scope of work. Right? It tells them in terms of what it is that we're asking them to do. So I can't tell one contractor I want scope of work A, and then another one scope of work B, give me a price, and then compare that. That's not a comparison. They have to have the same scope of work. There's the threshold for us in our new policy was the threshold got raised to 75,000. Anything below 75,000, we can go to the city manager for approval. Anything above 75,000, we come to the council for approval. Whether it's informal or formal, sole source or piggyback, we always have a legal review, right? Our city attorney and their staff. Again, even though we're as a staff, we know all the code sections. We are looking at those, making sure they comply. We have a secondary review through our legal review to make sure that what we're interpreting is exactly what the law should be. And they're basically making sure that we're on the right path. And in the end, we bring it to contract execution. And like I said, under 75, city manager, over 75, and it comes to you as the council. As a staff, we want to avoid any conflicts of interest. Again, we want to ensure fairness. I would say the biggest thing we do in our department as engineering is this process of bidding. It has to be sacred. Right? It has to be trust. There has to be integrity in that process. Right? That is our covenant in terms with the community, that we hold that process as sacred and we will follow these rules. Compliance. So again, in your home, there's no compliance, right? You don't have different things you need to comply with, but we do. We have to go back to the code and make sure we comply with these things to make sure we don't get in trouble, right? We don't want to go outside of the legal means when we award contracts. And then, of course, we want to make sure the budget is available, right? So we're constantly in communication with finance and their team to make sure that what we understand to be available is available. We do get a lot of grants. So there's federal and state grants that also have a lot of strings attached to that. So we got to read the fine print on those grants, make sure those grants are also complying, that we're doing everything in our purchasing that's complying with those grants. I can't go backwards, right? Once I award it, I can't go back, oh, sorry, state. I missed these two conditions. I'm going to go back and please forgive me and let's go forward. No, that we could jeopardize the money if we don't follow the rules from the beginning. Okay, so again, all very procedural in terms of what we can and can't do. And there's a lot of collaboration across departments. We also have an evaluation team, so it's not just me picking whoever, or it's not just whoever the department is picking whatever service or whatever vendor. It's usually an evaluation team. So when we get proposals, we have to read them, we have to evaluate them based on the scope of work, their project understanding, their team, and their price. And then we all rate those separately. When everybody's completed with their rankings, then we come together and we meet. Okay, and we talk about how you got that score. Sometimes you change your score, depending on what somebody else read. Maybe you missed something. Or maybe that person had more intimate knowledge about that proposal or that team or someone that worked on that team. And it could make the score go up or down. At the end of the day, it's usually three people. You agree to your scores, you rank them, and you figure out who 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth is. For professional services, we negotiate the price. We don't always have to take their price that they give us. You can actually go back and negotiate with them. When we do contracts with contractors, you can't negotiate the price, because usually it's low bid based. You're not able to do that. That's the difference between the professional services and the non-professional services. In terms of piggyback procurement requirements, again, there is a process here. So we always look at, is there something out there that our neighbors have done that we like, in terms of, we all do the same thing, right? We all have street sweepers. We all have tree trimmers in this case, custodial services. We have HVAC. So why not use their process when we can? Okay, but again, we just don't use it blindly. There's a lot of vetting and a lot of reading and analysis that has to go through. So just looking through this, looking 1 through 5, one, you have to have somebody that did it recently. I can't go back, we try to keep it right around 12-month period. Okay, we want it to be a recent bid. And again, we have to go back and look at their process. Does their process match or meet or exceed our process? If it does not, then we stop. Cannot use that. Okay, again, we have to, and then say we meet those. Then we call the vendor. And we ask the vendor if they're willing to meet those conditions and those prices. Sometimes it's yes, sometimes it's no. We don't know. We have to have that conversation because it has to be a mutual agreement that we want to go forward using that piggyback. And then once if they agree, then we look at the prices and we look at the scopes, and we got to make sure that they match. Okay, a lot of times we may be doing the same services, but we may not have it in the bid schedule noted out the same way, so we can't use it. Even though we may have liked that contract, the services that they're doing in a different city don't match our services, so that piggyback, it's like apples and oranges. Can't use it. So after that, we have to look at the price. Let's just say we did all those things and the price came and we didn't like the price. Well, we're not going to go forward with it. Doesn't make any sense. If it's not competitive for us to go forward, then we stop at that point. Okay. If the price is competitive and current, then we go forward and we bring out, as obviously write the report, working with our administration, and then we bring it to you. So again, a lot of different things go into it. Has to be cost savings, right? We don't want to pay higher than if we go out to bid. There's no purpose in doing that. Saving time. That's the other big thing too. Us putting together an RFP takes time to write the document, review the document. It goes a lot of back and forth. Got to go through legal, comes back, then we put it out on the street. Usually we want to at least have 30 days minimum to get a bid back. And then when we get that bid back, it's not like it's automatic. We got to go review those bids. We got to make sure their numbers are accurate. We got to make sure that their references are accurate, their licenses are accurate. Make sure that they have experience doing that type of work. Then when all that's done, then we bring it back. But that's a lot of time there. It could be anywhere from 2 to 4 months, right? So a lot of times we look at a piggyback is it saving time. But not only time, be saving staff time, the legal review time to be able to go through that process. Because the services don't stop, right? We don't have that luxury. If that service expires, that agreement, that deadline, I can't say, oh, sorry, city, we're not going to sweep, the sweeper's not going to be out there for 2 weeks because we got to go get our bids, and then we got to review the bids, and then we got to come back to you to award that contract. We don't have that luxury. The services must continue. That's why you'll see a lot of times when we can't agree, or maybe we don't get the RFP out in time, you have to go on a month-to-month. That's what happens. Transparent and legal, I think I've said that enough times. That's always the foundation of all of our process procurements is they have to be that. They have to meet that. And it's a high level. It's not you can pass with a C, even a B. Has to be an A, always. Okay? We have to make sure, again, cost savings, best value assured kind of go hand in hand. And again, we want to have reduced risk in terms of we would know the contractor now, right? We would know the vendor if we went off a piggyback. And that's kind of the first thing. If you're doing poor work for us, we're not going to do a piggyback, right? If I didn't say that from the beginning, that's the foundation. If you're not doing good work, we're not going to give you more work, plain and simple. So if you are doing exemplary work, usually that's when we have conversations. We'll talk to the vendor or to another city. Hey, when's the last time you bid this? Who won it? In this case, in West Coast, we had that conversation. Hey, what's the latest ones you had? And we'll get into more detail on that. And again, we do this. It's widely adopted, not just us, other cities, states. It's available. And for those reasons that we mentioned. In this case, for West Coast, we met with them way early on. I want to say 8 or 9 months prior to even the expiration of their agreement, which is in August. And we explored the option of a piggyback. Just to see if we had the RFP written, but we said, hey, let's just see if we can do a piggyback. And we went through at least 5 cities that had recently bid their tree trimming contract. And we went through their scope of work and through their pricing. So it wasn't like we just picked Rosemead because we liked Rosemead. It was because that's the one that had the best fit for us. The best fit meaning all of our items in terms of our services, best match. And that was actually difficult. Of the 5, we only found 2 that had the same services. That was our starting point. And then of those 2, we looked at the 2 different pricing, and Rosemead was the best beneficial price for us as Pico Rivera. And that's how we settled on Rosemead. In terms of them, they did have a process. They got 8 bidders. We looked at through their process, made sure that their process met our procurement process. That was the litmus test. 8 reputable bids. And again, we were locking in their price from about a year ago. So that was an advantage to us, because if we go bid out today, we're going to bid out for today's prices now, a year later. Prices do go up. Okay, and then we'll go into that in terms of how we benefited from that. And you can see in terms of in the fall, end of the year, December, Rosemead actually awarded it to West Coast. And then we brought this back, the first meeting in June was when we finally had all the documents in line, everything was passed through legal, and we were able to bring that to you. Okay, and here's the value analysis, and again, a lot of information. I'm trying to skip through the main highlights. If you have questions, you can feel free to ask. So our initial contract is going to be a 3-year contract with 1 2-year extension. Okay, and that locks in the prices for the first 3 years. And as you can see, you should ask me why are year 1 and year 2, year 3 different, is because we have 3, what we've done is we've broken the city down into 3 different grids. So I think when I got here, there was, help me somebody over here, Gonzalo, where are you at? 27, which I thought was too many. So I made it simplified it, working with them. It's north of Whittier is zone 1, between Whittier and Washington is zone 2, south of Washington is zone 3. And we try to balance it by the number of trees in that zone. Okay, so we have 11,600 trees total in the city, roughly. So we're trying to get right around 4,000 trees per grid. And that's why the prices are different, because there's not exactly the same number of trees in that grid. So our most trees is in year 3, based on the price. I could tell you right there, that $415. But if you look at the price in terms of our current contract versus the new contract, should we go with this process, you'll see that the highest increase is 1.44%. The other 2 years are less than 1%, which we think is an excellent price for us, because their contract bid 5 years ago. So from 5 years ago, we're only increasing roughly 1% 5 years later. And this is one of our largest contracts. So we thought that was an excellent value for us. And again, in discussions with them, our tree inventory assessment is outdated. There was a time where they weren't here for 2 years, roughly. The inventory it just wasn't kept up with by the other vendor. And then we've added a lot of trees in the last 3 years, like the medians, for example, is a good one, where we want to go ahead and GPS those, and they've offered to do that service, roughly just under $100,000 if we normally would go out to have that done. They've offered with this piggyback to do that at no cost to us, which is a benefit to us and a benefit to them, because they have a software system in terms of that keeps track of the history, the work history. So I know many residents do come to us about history of a tree, when the last time it was trimmed, or if they want it removed. And all that's in this software. So we have a history now of when we done the last trimming, if it was removed, if the tree was replanted, if their request was denied to get it removed. All that history is in this program. And I'll say the last 2 years we've done great lengths as internal staff in training our internal staff to keep up with that as well, because we also have a crew in our street section that does tree trimming for the lower height trees, and they're able to trim those to augment those services, but also to put it in that program so that everybody's on the same page in terms of when that tree was touched. Okay, so again, competitive pricing, right? There's no markup from the Rosemead, right, from that last year. The tree value, the tree inventory assessment included in there. And again, all these are verified numbers in terms of what we pay now, what Rosemead paid, to what we will pay in terms of those increases. Okay. And there was a couple questions talking about transparency, making sure that we are being in a transparent process. So again, this is a competitive process. Rosemead did a competitive process through an RFP. 8 firms went and submitted bids to the city of Rosemead that it would be very similar to our process should we do it ourselves. So that process does pass the transparency. Is a piggyback legal? Yes, it's legal per our code, per the state of California. We've done this in other situations. Our most popular is vehicles. We go through Sourcewell. It's how we buy our vehicles. We use the state. Auto parts, we use Sourcewell. Custodial supplies, we also use Sourcewell. So we use this quite often, a tool, because you get a lower price if you have bigger volume, right? If you're buying more volume, then you're going to get a lower price. So when we go to these piggyback contracts from the state, we're going to get a much cheaper price than if we were to go buy it ourselves because our quantities are going to be a lot less. And again, the pricing's fair. Again, our highest is 1.44% in that second year, but overall, it's just 1% difference from 5 years ago. And again, why not do our own RFP time? We could do it still. There's no reason why we can't. We're going to probably get a higher price because that's a 12-month-old price, and it'll take more time and staff time and legal time to do that. Let's see. We have to have access to public records. So any public records requests. Kind of similar pricing, legal oversight. So in summary, we've confirmed that this piggyback method is legal, has been approved by the council, reflecting adherence to best practices, not only locally but in the state. Again, this offers great cost stability to us in terms of only getting an increase of just 1%, and would also give us an uninterrupted service and a continuity for our program. And lastly, we're talking about the tree inventory assessment, that would be done in the first year. And with that, I'm happy to take questions.
Thank you, Director Negrete, for that refresher as to what this procurement process is. And just, I understand too, we've received recognition by the state for our procurement process as well, right? I mean, for high standards of procurement process, we've been recognized by the state of
Yeah,
California.
if that's
correct?
the GFAO, is that what you're talking about, Jane?
Wait,
No, but we send it to the state departments and they review and they okay it.
when we were, Mr. City Manager, when we were recognized for a low-risk city,
Yes.
there were standards of procurement that were acknowledged.
Yes. In fact, a lot of other cities that weren't recognized were dinged for not having the proper procurement policies in place.
So we have
yes.
high accolades for a recognition for our procurement standards. So thank you. With that, I'd like to open up for questions. I'll start with Councilmember Garcia.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, Noe, thank you for that presentation, as the Mayor alluded to, for the refresher. And for my edification, it was to make sure that we were transparent, we were in compliance, it was vetted, we followed all the process and protocols. But for me personally, you get some feedback from staff, from the residents, and when we had that tornado here in Pico Rivera, they came through for us and helped our residents when trees had fallen on the house. I just thought you had mentioned there was 8 bids through the Rosemead that were utilized on why we piggybacked, and we were going to go with this organization, this company.
Yeah, so just to clarify, in the Rosemead RFP, they received 8 bids,
Okay.
with West Coast being their low bidder.
And there's cost savings on this.
Yes.
Again, thank you for taking time out.
Councilmember Lara.
Yeah, no, I want to thank you, Noe, for the presentation. You hit all the high points. Thank you very much. It was very informative.
I'm not taking credit. I got Steve and Angelina and Jane that I'm just the mouthpiece here, but it's a teamwork.
It's okay. You can take credit.
Yeah, it was a good presentation.
We don't do anything here without doing it as a team, and that's really what we pride ourselves, even on the purchasing side. And it's really, we want to make sure there's a lot of checks and balances.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. I have a question. My first question is, you mentioned the rating system that we use in our bidding process. Who are the raters traditionally?
Just depends on the project and depends on the services. So, like for engineering, like the ones you're going to see for what was it, items 12 and 13, I think, if I recall. it's usually the engineers, right? So sometimes I'm in it, sometimes I'm not. Just depends on who's free. For sure, we want the project manager to be number one. So whoever's going to be assigned that project, they will be in it. Myself or the deputy director is usually the second one. Then the third one is either a third engineer, maybe a technician, depending on the services, someone who's going to be involved in that. Lastly, it could be me as well. And then we read the proposals. In the proposal itself, we have to tell them what we're going to score them on as well. So we tell them up front.
So the raters are exclusively internal raters, no external rater from the outside.
That's correct, all internal.
Okay. My second question is, we've been on the city council I've been 7 years, my colleague 6 years. In the past 6 or 7 years, how many times would you say the staff has approved or brought this piggyback forward to us? I know it's rare, I can't remember, but if you know yourself,
It's
how many
more
times?
often than you think, but usually it's for purchases that are under the radar. Like I said, a lot of auto parts, custodial services. So usually, they're not big ticket items, right? We usually gravitate to the big projects, which is usually the formal competitive process. But I would probably say we do this anywhere between 10 to 20 times per year.
My next question leads to what you said is, what is the threshold, the dollar amount in order for you to begin this piggybacking process? So you mentioned we've done it many times, but for smaller ticket items. So this, the tree trimming contract is large, 1.2 million. So is there a threshold in terms of the dollar amount, like 2 million max, 1 million? Is there a dollar amount threshold?
No, I would say the first thing that we look at is the vendor quality of work, their performance and their responsiveness. That's usually the first thing that we look at in terms of do we want to look at for a piggyback. If that does happen, then we either reach out to the vendor, to the neighboring cities to see if anything's recent. And then we'll look to see if it matches up, and then pricing. So I wouldn't say there's a threshold dollar amount, but usually our first look threshold in terms of total price from when we last bid it to what we're bidding today, we want to look at in terms of like the cost escalation factors during that time. Right? If during that time it was a 4% increase, but we're looking at the piggyback and it's a 6% increase, then that's probably not good for us, right? But if say it was a 2% increase and the cost of living was 5% during that time, then we'll look. That makes sense. We're going to get a savings now from that. We're going to go forward now and look at it a little more closely. And like I said, we just don't want to look at one city. We want to look at a lot of cities because the pricing may vary depending on what their services are or just during that time when they bid it. We don't know, but we want to make sure that that price that we get is good. A lot of times we don't know. That's why we do an RFP. If I can't find a piggyback, like a lot of times I've negotiated with vendors, right? We try to negotiate a price, maybe get a 2-year extension out of them. They give us a price, and then we'll work with the city manager's office, and we talk about if that's a fair price or not. We really don't know, right? We just are kind of guessing, educated guess, that if we're getting a good price or not. But if it's beyond what the inflation factor is, that's probably a non-starter.
Thank you. I feel that I am more favorable of the RFP for that reason, or RFB process. And then my last question is, the piggybacking process is the same amount of time as preparing the RFP process, correct? You said about 3 months in terms
the
of
RFP is about
when you
3 or 4
begin?
months. The piggybacking is faster because we don't have to do that process. As long as we can match up our scope of work and that price makes sense. So in this case, I think we did it probably in 30, 40 days. And that included the writing of the agenda report.
I think the timeline that you provided is about 3 months, and similarly that you provided earlier. So it looks like about the same time, but okay, thank you for the presentation. Thank you for entertaining us.
Councilmember?
Yes. Director Negrete, thank you very much for giving us the breakdown. I now have more material to hold you accountable to. When you do presentations like this in front of us, you enrich the community and you educate the council even further. We appreciate it. It holds all of us accountable to the public. We just want a combination, a nice combination between quality and pricing to keep the residents in the community safe and looking attractive. So thanks again for the presentation.
You're welcome. Just, the staff really does a good job in terms of, like I said, this process is sacred to the city and to the staff, to making sure that we're hitting all those high marks, because ultimately we're responsible, right? And they're going to come to you and say, hey, what is this process? Did you follow it? And we don't want to have that issue, right? That's why we have the highest degree in terms of when we go out to bid, what we're holding ourselves accountable to.
Thank you.
Councilmember?
Yeah, no, thank you once again for the presentation. For me, when I think about work that's done in the city, it's always about relationship and it's always about the responsiveness of the contractor. Because you and I, we've been in projects where it hasn't worked out quite that way. And it turns into a war of letters between attorneys, and then eventually the work may get done at their timeline.
That's a good, I didn't have a slide on that too, but there is a slide when you get the bad contractor or the wrong contractor, how much more time as a staff that we spend on a project than what we should.
Yeah.
And it takes away from the other projects.
So I think it's important that that's established first, right? And this piggyback process is really based upon relationship and upon work ethic, right? On the contractor and the responsiveness to the needs of the city. I'm pleased to hear good things about West Coast Arborists. I'm happy that they were there for us during the tornado. At a drop of the hat, they showed up. But then also, it seems like it's decent pricing in regards to the contract. So I'd like to make a motion that we bring this item back to our next regular council meeting, and that we take action. If I could get a second.
I'll second.
So we'll bring this back to next council meeting and make a determination from there. So, Director Negrete, I just wanted to again thank you. I know that these are state laws that we follow. This is all established by the state of California. We cities, municipal governments throughout follow these laws, and we make them to the standard that fits our needs. And one thing that was Councilmember Lara mentioned about these bad contractors that we do get, unrelated to piggyback, but you mentioned, I just wanted to highlight because I think it's important to our residents to recognize the low bid process, the sealed bid process, how it's well intended and we have to follow because that's the law. However, the lowest bid is not always the best contractor. And we've unfortunately have experienced that over the years, and then that creates bigger problems, time, cost, and so forth. Can you just elaborate on how that is a challenge to us to deliver the projects that the residents sometimes like, why is it taking so long? Well, because we got into litigation because the contractor didn't fulfill. But again, it was chosen based on the low bid, not, the best that you felt it was needed for the community.
So, Mr. Mayor, how much time do you got? I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Yeah, that's the hard part, because if you have a license and let's just say you have a roadway project and you've done one road project and you have a license, even though you have a lot of bad references, it's really hard to throw out that contractor. Or if we've had experience with that contractor before and they've not done good work, it's really hard to throw out. And you can reject all bids and rebid it, but there's no guarantee they're not going to win it again, right? And that's the hardest part, is that a lot of times we don't even know the contractor, and we have to award it based on this low bid, because that's the only impartial way of knowing. The problem is say if I know somebody who's number two and they did good work for me, and I give them the job, that's subjective now. And that's what happened. That's what got us in the mess. When you go back in the history books and look at Tammany Hall, that's what was happening. Is that people were giving contracts to their, brother-in-law, whatever, family members or whatever, their barber. And that's when they said we have to establish a system that we can make everybody equal. Well, the only equal one was price. That's assuming that they know what they're doing, and that's the hard part. So we're finding that more and more contractors are new to public works, What I mean is there's a lot of residential work, there's commercial work, but then there's public work, city work. And just because they can do it on the commercial side or the residential side, they think they can do this side. And it's been tough. The other thing we are finding is that as a smaller city, our smaller projects, and what I mean by a small project is something under $5 million is a small project now, is we don't get a lot of reputable contractors bidding on it because it's not worth their time. So now we're dealing with either first-timers or the people that don't perform very well. And it takes longer because we're having to guide them, or we get into legal disputes in terms of how the work should get done.
Well, you said our staff are the raters, though the raters, our staff won't pick those ones, hopefully.
Separate process. Okay, good question. So that's professional services. Professional services, we have a rating committee. Contracts for construction, no raters, just low bid. That's it. Now, they turn in paperwork that shows their licenses. They turn in paperwork that shows their references from other cities that we vet through. But unfortunately, the reality is, even if I get 3 bad references and I go to our city attorney and say, hey, they got 3 bad references, I want to kick them out, legally, that's not enough. They're gonna sue us. So most likely we reject all the bids and we bid it again, but now we just lose time now.
That's okay.
Right? That's not good. And then there's no guarantee that they're not going to win again because now everybody knows all the prices. So I would say more than like 60% of the time that person's going to win again. And then we just lost time. And their price comes in a little higher than the first time, usually what happens.
Very well.
Clarification for city manager. So we voted on this item already, June 9th, 4-0 for instruction to go to RFP. With you may also, I'm aware that the contract is going to expire soon. So city manager is authorized to sign a month-to-month release. So since we've already voted on this item, then what happens to that motion? We already voted on it.
Yeah, I think with tonight's motion, that would be a reconsideration at the next council meeting, if I'm not correct, City Attorney.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, so I
So,
think,
yeah, specifically on item number, was it 16, I think
Yes.
it is? On the consent, just double check the number, yes, item number 16, that would be brought up back, and I believe we're going to have a special council meeting
we may, at the end of
possibly
July.
later this month.
Yes.
If not, that item would be brought back, so it would be not heard tonight on the consent, but brought back at consideration.
Yes, I think I could foresee 2 items, right? It would be a council consideration to reject the previous action of council, and then another motion.
Reconsider and,
Yeah,
yeah,
and reject, and then another to accept the contract, if that's the desire of council.
correct.
All right. Well, Director Nagata, thank you. Thank you for that. And I mean, one big project that just came to fruition is the pool, the Smith Park Aquatic Center. I know there was a long process, but there was a lot to that entire renovation. But we finally got there, broke ground. It's under construction right now, so. we're hoping-
They're hitting the demolition pretty hard if you drive by there.
Good.
A lot of things are coming down.
So,
Mayor, can I
Yeah.
just have him expand just a little bit on that? Because
Sure.
I think it's really important, because we talked about low bid, but in this particular case, because the valuation was so high, we took a different process, although it was low bid. But I want Noe to explain, because this is the way we ensured that we got a quality contractor on board. So Noe, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so it's called the pre-qualification process. And generally, you do this over like projects over $10 million and above. And it's a formal process where you go back to Dr. Sanchez's point about the raters. If you pre-qualify, they have to submit a proposal, and now we can rate that now under that process. Now, we're not rating just the one. What we're trying to do is make sure that the ones that we're approving. So 6 actually submitted, and we kicked out 2, and we got 4. And the 4 we got from what they proposed and what we looked at their references, there are 4 major players in terms of pool reconstruction contractors. And our contractor, Swinnerton, who was out there, is a highly reputable contractor that has done a lot of pools in this area. Now, that process takes time. So in this case, where we had a longer project, and because of the price value, it made sense to go through that process.
And why did we not do that with this tree trimming contract, have pre-approved?
That's only for construction projects. Again, this is a service, a maintenance service
Okay, we don't do that
project.
with any service projects?
No, no, only for construction.
Okay, thank you, Director. Appreciate it. That concludes this presentation. We're going to move on to the next agenda item, public hearing. It's a public hearing regarding the general plan amendment, update to the general plan safety element, an ordinance to amend Title II, Administration and Personnel, Chapter 2.52, Emergency Preparedness of the Pico Rivera Municipal Code. I'd like to open up this public hearing.
Can I briefly interrupt you? Unfortunately, our consultant is having trouble accessing our system, so we need to hold this over. I think it's important that we have it at a next meeting because it does account for a general plan update on our emergency operations, and so I think it warrants a good presentation. So I'd like to hold that over to the next fully agendized council
So my
meeting.
colleagues are okay with it. We'll continue this item to the next council meeting. Thank you. That leads us into public comment. We did get submitted online for public comment here by Barbara Ravello. Is Barbara here? Okay. And then we have the folks who've done the green slips here. So we'll start off with Victor Gonzalez regarding the tree maintenance contract.
First, good evening. First, I do have a complaint. Tree service. You know about my issue in my house. So now I guess I'm blessed that I'm here at the right time. So hopefully, Mr. Mayor, you could do something about it because I've been waiting this for years. And you know the issues and everything, so I count on you. So today I want to talk about good evening to Mayor and council members and fellow residents. My name is Victor Gonzalez, longtime Pico Rivera resident and community advocate. I'm here today because my public safety in our neighborhoods has become serious and concerns. Coyotes are running around out of control in the streets, where now, instead of walking my dog, I have to carry it. Families can no longer safely walk in my neighborhood and let their children play outside. Now, as a grandfather, I have to be there 24/7, walking by his side, cannot leave him, not even for a second. So that's how dangerous it is. Shopping centers in commercial areas. I know it was brought up to the mayor and council member in previous council meetings, but shopping centers in commercial areas like Lowe's, Walmart, now the homeless, they're making their little homes in the back. My granddaughter works at one of the stores. She tells me stories about these guys, perverted sickos are just approaching her. She just graduated from a rancho. She works at this beauty salon. She shouldn't be dealing with this. She shouldn't be going home crying and calling me in the middle of the night that she needs help. So we need to really, really focus on that community center because this is not a homeless shelter for them to be on this right there in the center. And if I sound kind of strong, yes, I am. I am pissed off. We are the highest. We're the greatest city, Pico Rivera, so we do expect the best. So drug activity. I took liberty to drive and walk around the area behind the shopping centers, and these guys are just doing drugs. Pretty soon, I'm starting a YouTube video where I'm actually going to be with my youngsters throughout the city of Pico Rivera, showing the community what we are facing and what we're dealing. And hopefully city council and mayor take this more seriously. On my street situation, I worked hard to put a stop sign at, and Johnny Garcia, council member, you know, Ernie, good friend, he'll tell you, I worked hard to get this stop sign with the assistant of Mayor Camacho. Now these guys think it's 605 freeway. And I asked the sheriffs before, and I even reached out, And Mayor Camacho, you said, and they did, for a while, they did. We have a patrol officer, I think he lives down the street, but I haven't seen a patrol officer parked there. And I know we're in summer break, but we all have to take this seriously. We have our youth with summer school being out, we have them walking around. So please,
Gonzalez,
let's not just wait, but appreciate it.
thank you. Thank you for your time. Appreciate
Hopefully, I don't have to come back.
it. Okay. Ana Delgado, Rio Hondo Handball Courts.
Good evening, council members. As you know me, I've been coming on and off here in regards to the handball courts of Rio Hondo and Pico Rivera. Again, we haven't heard anything. These last two meetings, I wasn't able to make it, but I was looking into the agenda and then just to see if, by any chance, you guys were going to speak in regards to, the remodeling of Rio Hondo Park. But I haven't seen anything. Again, we do, I've been doing a lot of research. We do see in 2005, we had got a form saying that, the handball courts were going to get refurbished, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I don't think so. Refurbished. That is basically saying, that the handball courts should be getting, let me go to that. Fixing on them. So, improvement, not to remove them, but to fix them or to renew them, and trying to make them into a better condition. Again, and 2021 and 22, it was brought up to us that there was funding into 17 million on the funding for Smith Park and Rio Hondo Park. However, I did see a lot of remodeling on Smith Park. It looks really, really amazing, beautiful work. However, Rio Hondo Park, it's more of a small community park. We have not seen anything. Everything's falling apart. We have no more grills left there. Our handball courts, again, this is something that, and we found out they were getting planned to get removed and instead of getting fixed as, we thought they were going to get. We have not seen a dollar, into these, courts. We are a small park. We don't have too much there. We're not like other parks around Pico Rivera. Whatever we have there, that's whatever we use around that community. Us that we are there on a daily basis, it does affect us that each time you guys decide to do something into Rio Hondo Park, it's just removing more and more things from us instead of making them more, for us, especially the ones that are there on a daily basis. Behind me, we do have some of the players there that do play there. They are working man. They use that as a, as a daily exercise, fun sport that they do use that. They will be used a lot more if they were maintained. Right now, the floor is slippery, so, they don't get used as much as, they would like to use it because of that, the condition. We are asking just again to, not to stop the removing of these handball courts, but yet fix them as we were told that was going to happen.
Thank you, Mrs. Delgado.
Mhm.
Appreciate it. Mr. David Angelo? And I just wanted to comment that you're right, Ms. Delgado, there hasn't been that investment at Rio Hondo Park. That investment is forthcoming. There's two phases to this project, and for the last conversation, we are working to address the handball course. So, we just haven't addressed it here because it's not an action item. So that's why you don't hear it in this, but we are addressing based on the last conversation. Okay, thank you. Mr. David Angelo.
Honorable Mayor Gustavo and councilman and city staff, good afternoon. I have your permission to change the subject, okay? I, I'm here to represent the Sister City Committee of Pico Rivera, and just want to remind you that 60 years ago, Frank Terrazas, mayor then, went to San Luis Potosí, and they signed a covenant to become sister cities. We are now going to be celebrating 60 years of that. It's been a ride that's taken us through so many experiences and friendships, and it's unbelievable the legacy that Pico Rivera has in with San Luis Potosí. You have been invited. I brought a copy of the official letter from the mayor of San Luis Potosí inviting the council to come. The committee is taking a delegation of 13 of our members over there. Will be leaving in a few days. The exact dates are going to be from July 29th through August the 3rd. The main reason I'm here is because they told me, you got to bring somebody from the council. He says, go over there and shake their head. Says, we want at least one representative from the council. So that's why I'm here, inviting somebody from the council. But it doesn't have to be from the council. In years past, we had assistant, what do you call it, the commissioners and the city managers has been there. I know, Gustavo, you've been there. Even Attorney Arnold, you went there, didn't I, one time? Yeah. So you're all invited. You don't have to go to Europe. San Luis Potosí is nearby, and you'll get just as much out of San Luis Potosí as you would at one of your European tours. But anyway, it's there. Please, you should come and recognize what San Luis Potosí is and how the Pico Rivera has played a role in making it what it is. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Angelo. And yes, San Luis Potosí was our first sister city. We since have 3 additional ones. We have 4 sister cities since then. And Mr. Angelo happens to be, I consider him the Mr. Sister City here in the city. Because of him, we've built a relationship over the years. And Mr. Terraza, former mayor some time ago, not only was a former mayor and the one side the sister city, but it was through his efforts that we have the Pico Rivera Sports Arena, and amongst other things. And so, again, I just want to highlight that, Mr. Angelo, because aside from what you do at Pico Water District as an elected official, you do a great relationship. So thank you for the invitation. We'll figure out how we can make that happen. Thank you. Cesar Luna, regarding the Kiwanis Club. It is now chartered.
Hello, Mayor Camacho and City Council and everyone in this room. There's a couple of things I want to talk about Pico Rivera is actually coming together. When one of the finest examples of Pico Rivera coming together was Mr. Javier Hernandez's efforts of bringing in the Pico Rivera world spirit and brought Pico Rivera together. You saw people that came out of their houses and riding their bikes down Whittier Boulevard, down Passons, down Mines. It was really a great venture that Mr. Hernandez had up or led, and it was great. And I even participated, and I never ride a bike. But it was great. And I also wanted to announce that Pico Rivera is also participating in getting our Kiwanis chapter going. We have enough participants that we are now going to be chartered. And it's been 25 years since we've had a Kiwanis group here in Pico Rivera. We have 15 members, and I invite everyone in this room to come and watch us get chartered at Shakey's on July the 22nd. It's on a Wednesday at 6 o'clock. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. It's bringing Pico Rivera together again. And it's an opportunity to meet your neighbors, talk with your neighbors, and it's a great place to form fellowship relationships with your neighbor. So it's pretty exciting. And as a member myself of the Kiwanis and president of the Norwalk Kiwanis, it's been exciting. It's been fun. It gets you out of the house, gets you to meet new people, gets you out of your funk sometimes. If you need to talk to other people, hit up a Kawanian. We're always willing to talk. Look at I talk too much as it is. So, anyways, thank you for allowing me to speak today. And I just wanted to definitely say to Mr. Hernandez, you did a fine job. That was an awesome, awesome event. And it was worth sweating on the damn bike. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Luna.
Mayor, it was brought to my attention that the streaming people can't, they can only hear. There's no audio on the viewers. So can we double check that we have streaming access to those that are
Look into
online?
that.
Yeah.
Great, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Great, next is Lauren Talbot. And to Mr. Luna and the Kiwanis, congratulations. I love it to see when the community members themselves build something from the grassroots up. You know, it was not a council-driven, it was not a city-driven. This was strictly residents and community leaders that had come together to build an organization. You were committed, you were persistent, and you were successful. So congratulations. We look forward to working with you all. Thank you. Lauren?
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Lauren Talbot, and I'm the Community Library Manager at the Pico Rivera Library and the Rivera Library. Here are the updates for July. The Pico Rivera Library continues to be open on Mondays from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. As the Rivera Library is still closed for construction, we hope to reopen in August. Teens are invited to learn the basics of crochet at the Pico Rivera Library on Saturday, July 18th at 2 p.m. All supplies, including yarn, hooks, and stitch markers, will be provided. The Pico Rivera Library will be discussing Nita Prose's best-selling novel, The Maid, on Tuesday, July 21st at 6 p.m., and copies of the book are available at the library to check out. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Talbot. All right. With that, we just have two written comments that were submitted. And two written comments that were submitted. One in regards to by Andrew Ramos, Parkway enhancements along Rosemead near Mines. And also we have from Chris Moshos regarding illegal fireworks. I'd like to submit this for the record as public comment, right? Thank you. With that.
I got here late, so I didn't fill out a green card.
Please.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. I am a proud resident of Pico Rivera for 78 years. And my question is the fireworks, the illegal fireworks. Is there anything that, I mean, today's the 14th. In my neighborhood, they're still going off. And I mean, till 2 in the morning, I don't want to be a complainer, but come on. I mean, is there anything or is there any way of addressing this?
Well, protocol, we don't get into a conversation up here, but as you express your concerns regarding it, I'll ask some questions to staff so we can address
Yeah,
them.
because, I mean, it goes especially going on this late. I mean, the 4th of July, okay. But it went on till 2, 3 in the morning and you can't sleep. The dogs are all upset. And I'm not talking about the safe and sane. I get that. But it's the illegal fireworks. I mean, I don't know what can be done to get rid of them, but, and like I said, I don't want to be a complainer, but I think something needs to be addressed.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that, and we'll get into a conversation about that in just a minute. But can you just put your name for the record so we can put?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Terry Cardenas.
Thank you, Terry. I know it was your name, but I want you to.
I know. Okay.
Thank you. Thank
yeah,
you
and that was it. It's just my concern because it's like I said, today's the 14th, and they're still shooting them off at night, even last night, and it just I don't know. It's just a bothersome. So anyway, that was my issues, I don't know that anything can be done about it. Because I know it's, even if you call like not city hall, but the sheriff's department, I don't know what they can do. Because even when we called, they said, oh, I know, it's late, we can't, and I know they can't be patrolling every street, I get that. They have other stuff to do, but I don't know that we can just outlaw them. I don't know if that's even a possibility, but again, that's my 2 cents, and thank you.
Thank you for that. Um, just wanted to, Mr. City Manager, in regards to that, I know we deal with this in the Fourth of July. Um, we've we've increased the fines the last couple years. It's $1,000 fine. How many of those did we give out last year?
So last year we had a total of 51
So
citations.
51 $1,000 citations
Yes,
that we gave out, and do we have a count for this year?
96.
96 citations.
Yeah.
So
And
96 citations of $1,000 each.
so
And what is the method that we use to with the sheriff department?
yeah, I'm not going to go into details with the method just because I want to keep people on their toes, but I can tell you that since we started this program, we've increased our enforcement activities during the 4th of July time period. The challenge that we always have is that you actually have to witness somebody lighting the fireworks. And so even if you call and they drive out there and they see the people, if they don't see them lighting it, that is correct. However, I'd like to also say that we're all looking at other types of technology. Some cities use drones, but I have to tell you, we had 96 this year. Downey used a drone system. They only had 18. So again, our method I think is more effective for now. We're actually going to triple our efforts next year. So that number of 96 will probably go from 300 to 500 citations next year if that happens. So
So the intent, I mean, so we've got 96 unhappy residents right now that are, have to figure out how they're gonna pay $1,000 fine. And as you see, it's increasing, so we're doing what we can to tackle it because it is an issue and stuff, so. But just wanted to give that update with that. So thank you, City Manager. Thank you. That concludes our public comment period. That'll lead us into our City Council consent calendar items. Um, It's items 2 to 17, with exception to item 16 that was pulled. With that, I'd like to entertain motions or
Motion to approve 16.
I'll second.
there's a first and there's a second. Any opposed? Hearing none, the items move forward. With that, it'll lead us into the city manager report. City manager,
give an update on the fireworks, but I already did. The audio is back up and running. It's working. So, and also if they missed any type of coverage, it is being recorded. It'll be pushed out in YouTube as well.
great. That's the city manager report. So now we'll lead us into the good of the order. Any AB 1, 2, 3, 4 reports, new business or old business. I'll start with my left, Councilmember Lara.
Nothing to report in regards to AB 1234. I do just want to report off on my attendance for the World Spirit Soccer Festival. I thought it was very well organized. I too managed to ride my bike. My boy and I, we rode our bikes from my home, which is about Chuck E. Cheese, all the way to Mi Hacienda and watched the Columbia soccer game. And then we rode our bike down Whittier Boulevard, and it was nice. It was nice. I've been to some Latin American countries where they do this. It's just they shut down their major boulevard on Sunday, and people get out there and roller skate and ride their bikes and walk, and that is what it reminded me of, and it was nice to experience. Um, People really enjoyed the Smith Park location with the screen, that big screen. I heard that people would like that screen for some movies in the park. It's large, but it's nice. And I don't know if in some way we could do like a Dodgers game, like a playoff game, or maybe a World Series game.
I think we're gonna do the World Series.
Is it? Yeah. Yeah, and I respect the fact that it takes planning, right? And so on and so forth. But I think that would be a really good venue to have. And if I could say this from the dais, people enjoyed the expanded beer garden. It is what it is. But people enjoyed that, and I think that's there's things to take away that we can, constructive criticism about that project, but at the end of the day, I think there's things that we take away that were positive. And it was just good that we as a community were able to provide that, and also the soccer clinics. Um, the soccer clinics. I don't want to get too long-winded about soccer, but I think it's important that we provide these sorts of activities for our children, for families, because soccer is definitely a thing in our community. The next item was the aquatic center, the ribbon cutting. I mean, the groundbreaking for that. I'm getting ahead of myself. Um, that that was a special item. I really appreciated your speech, Mayor. I think you talked about the promise that was made to this community to improve our infrastructure for our children. Um, I just think about that Mines project, about the bike lane, and I foresee, once that's done, I foresee kids riding their bikes during the summer to go swimming there. And it's coming together. Like a lot of these projects that staff, council's leading, it's it's like Lego pieces. It's coming together to just provide more opportunity. But I'm happy. Just it's taken a little bit longer than what was anticipated, but I'm happy with our project management company that we hired. I'm happy with the contractor that we've hired. Just solid people all the way around, and I'm confident that that's going to give us a really legacy project. Lastly, I managed to put together a meeting with SCAG and our staff with Javier, Mr. Hernandez, and also Mr. Farrar, Mr. Negrete. And we presented some of the projects that we're doing, pushing forward. There's a lot of money that they oversee, and just ways in which we can fit to continue to advance our community forward. But not only just like projects that affect Pico Rivera, but also regional projects. Like there's a number of transportation projects that the city's working on that we're spearheading that improves our lives, but then improves the lives of our communities around us. So that's it. That's all I have to report. Thank you.
Councilmember. I'll go to my right, Councilmember Lutz.
Uh, Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to speak on items AB 1234. I attended the Gateway Council of Governments meeting this past month. And on another item, along with you and the rest of the council and city staff, we attended the groundbreaking of our Smith Park Aquatic Center, an amazing project, over $40 million, and it's probably going to be one of our memorable projects that we're going to have this generation at Smith Park. So we're very happy to be a part of that. And it's a long time coming. And I look forward to that project to be completed sooner than later. And of course, I want to give a big thank you to the creativity of our director Hernandez for World Spirit Festival, because I think it's bigger than the World Cup. It now expands Pico Rivera as a city that has a reputation that embraces celebration of all communities and all ethnicities and races and religion to come together in a free event and enjoy themselves out in the open. And of course, if we do a little consolidation of the venue, I think we're just going to have an explosion of attendance for future events. So I'm looking forward into doing a couple modifications and making that an amazing um, event in upcoming years. Uh, Aside from that, I do want to close with one item that I find very dear and special to me. This past month, I had the opportunity to travel to Changting County, Fujian Province in the country of China. And I took my colleague with me, Council Member, Mayor Pro Tem Dr. Sanchez, to explore the opportunity of sister cityhood outside in another continent. And I've been out to China 3 times prior, and this was just an amazing opportunity where we take children all across the United States to interact with other students there in China, and they get to experience either whether it's basketball or football or soccer competitiveness. And this time around, we were exploring playing pickleball, and we had an enjoyable opportunity to play pickleball with these professional pickleball coaches out there in Fujian province, China. We also explored going to a middle school in this respective city called Changting County, and we met the principal and the students. And the students were so happy to see us, but yet they were even more happy and can't wait to see when we bring our middle school or our local high school students out to their respective city. And so I'm working diligently on making that happen. One of the great things that we also did was explore some of the local artists of the community, and there is a tradition, an art form of paper cutting that is centuries old. And one of the local artists created a one of a kind piece for us, and it was a paper cutting image of a historical building there in the respective city of Changting County. I wanted to reveal it, and it's a gift from the local government to our local government here in Pico Rivera. Wanted to reveal it here while we're yeah while we're here on the dais. And my colleague here, Dr. Monica Sanchez, she'll go ahead and showcase it. The many hours went into this one-of-a-kind art piece. And again, if you look at it, you have actual red construction paper type material that's meticulously cut in the design of that historic building there in of Changting County. And again, that was gifted to us to showcase in a symbolic gesture of starting the process of becoming sister cities. So I wanted to share that with the community, and hopefully we can put that somewhere for the public to view in the upcoming weeks.
Can we take a quick picture and?
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe
Yeah.
we can send it to them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Let me just say this. They're gonna take Robert wants to take a picture of us at the end of the meeting. Why don't we hold off and we'll do it there, right there, so we can finish the public comment. Thank you.
And then one final item, we had the opportunity to go up on a hilltop because Fujian province is an area that's rich in historic and known for its historical sites and historic government parks. We went up on a hilltop and we planted a tree, symbolic of the future sisterhood that we're looking at embarking on between the two cities of Pico Rivera and Fujian province. So with that, I'd like to conclude. And again, one thing that I always like to tell people is that regardless of politics on a national level, all of us communities consist of human beings, and we all are prideful of our heritage and culture. And that's the one thing that we have in common. We have culture and heritage, and that's all sown and held together with families, with mothers and fathers and parents and uncles. And so, you know, we have one community across the Pacific extending their hand of opportunity of friendship with us. And we've embarked on this project with 4 prior cities in Mexico. And I think this is a wonderful opportunity in the upcoming months to work on this Friendship City project. And that concludes my comments, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember. I'll go to my left, Councilmember Garcia.
Thank you, Mayor. For AB 1234, attended the sanitation meeting. And I just want to thank my colleagues on the dais because I wasn't on city council when you started to put together the rendering and for the aquatic center. But what an amazing groundbreaking that was put together. Kudos to the staff. It was well done and well presented. Great job. Javier Hernandez, Great job with you and the staff and the team and everybody who put together the Spirit Festival. Actually, when I seen those rides, I got a flashback of the Pomona Fair and those big giant turkey legs. But it was well done, and that libation area was a 40 by 20. I measured it. It was a 40 by 20, and it was huge, and it was full on. But the jumbo screen, as Councilmember Lara talked, you could have other sports venues and watch parties there. It's a great idea, and that's what the community was sharing. Um, the car show was amazing on Whittier Boulevard. Um, Mayor, I would like to look at a critique and one of our ad hocs to look at lessons learned, what we did well, where can we improve with 2028 coming, turning the corner, and we can archive this information across the gamut so that we're better prepared and we would deliver even a better experience to the residents and family and guests to Pico Rivera. The other is I want to give a recognition to the water department. Noe, they came out on an emergency call on the south end of town uh, twice. Once on Friday on call and Saturday. The city had installed some new water meters by the curb. The leak happened to be on the residential side. They got their plumber, and whoever the staff was professional, kind, respectful, courteous to the residents. So please convey that message. Job well done. That concludes my report, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, thank you. I have a few items to report. My first item I wanted to report out was what was my first item? Here we go. My first item, I do want to mention that I attended the 100th anniversary at the at the Pico Water District with Mayor, and it was great to be able to celebrate with them. Secondly, I did attend the World Cup festival on one evening, and I thought it was wonderful. I got great reviews on the carnival rides and just the screen and the park. The only gripe that I heard was about the price of the food. But I said, hey, inflation, we can blame someone else for that. But that was the only thing, that came up in terms of the festival. But I heard great things, and I think we can build off of that and see what we do for the future and growing our projects in the park and our events. I also had the opportunity, as Councilmember Lutz mentioned, we were invited by the Minister of China and also we were joined by a minister. She was a woman, right? The Minister of Education, and we visited a high school in China. We visited a humanoid robotics factory. Technology is way advanced, more than here in China where we went. I saw a lot of similarities with Chengting and us. Although they're a larger province, they have a lot more people. They too have a river that runs through their city. We don't. Our rivers are on each side, but they have a river that they were highlighting. We got to take a boat tour along that river. In addition, I was very. They received us very well, and I think that part of this initiative, through the Minister of Tourism and the Minister of Education, is, post COVID, Americans have this xenophobia or fear of Asians and Chinese culture because of COVID, and so there's this push to help invite Americans like ourselves. And thank you, Councilmember Lutz, for inviting me. Mayor was invited as well, but I think it was the week that Saturday of the Spirit Festival, so unfortunately, not all of us could go. But it was a wonderful experience, and I think we're supportive of learning about Asian culture. We have Chinese. I think I don't know how many, very few, but I think that it's great to teach our youth about culture. We were invited also to a baseball exhibit. It was called Pitching Across the Ocean, where they invited youth from high school and college age to play big exhibition games with teams from Hong Kong and all over, as well as Iowa, Hawaii, United States. They give us an invitation as well to bring youth to play a soccer game in August. I don't know that we can make that happen when they need 17 kids and 3 chaperones. But we do need to get a visa, but I think this is an opportunity for us to engage in cultural exchange. I learned a lot. I've never been to China, and I think that it's a great experience, cultural exchange between our cities as a potential. Um, Lastly, I wanted to bring up as a couple of items. One, the fireworks. I uh, wanted to piggyback on the resident, what she said. I experienced excessive fireworks in that damage to my house and my neighbor's home. So around 9 p.m. In 4th of July, a illegal firework struck my neighbor's roof. The ceramic debris shattered and shattered the vehicle of a car parked in front, and also shattered my glass patio table and the second story window at my house. So the fire department had to come out in the evening and extinguish the firework, which was inside my neighbor's attic. He had to cut open the roof, and also his house smelled like smoke. It was a a war zone out in my neighborhood on 4th of July, which is usually a quiet neighborhood. So I think this is serious, and I appreciate the efforts, but I would like to be in support of further supporting our sheriffs. And I know that we already have a deputy shortage. I know that we have our PSP team, but perhaps if we are able to have more resources go toward that team, because these are illegal fireworks that are being smuggled into our city. So we should treat it as such, like we treat drugs in a city. And this is causing thousands of dollars of damage. Not only the noise complaint, not only the people not sleeping, the dogs, but I really experienced it firsthand, and my neighbors too. And there was a palm tree that caught on fire in Montebello. And so there are serious dangers, not only injuries, but property damage that can come and have come from from these fireworks. So I'm on board with. I don't know what our deputies what our captain recommends. Increase in the fine to Whittier has a $5,000 fine. Whatever recommendations. Let's take a look at that and bring that back to the table and see, because it seems like perhaps the increase in tickets is due to our increase in enforcement, but it's not reducing the instances or severity of our fireworks. And these weren't safe and sane fireworks. This felt like a bomb and that went off enough to shatter my second story glass window and a outdoor patio table. So this is severe damage and thousands of dollars in property damage that is happening. And it could have caught multiple homes on fire. So that's one thing I'm serious about. And if we have a committee, whatever it may be, I would like to be part of that. And then secondly, just wanted to give the kudos again about the parks, but also I know we're going to have the concert in the parks coming up. I don't know if the parks director is going to give a little bit about that. I'll let you share, because I don't remember all of the details. The Summer Street Fest. Yeah, sure.
I just also wanted to let Councilmember Lara know that the last two Halloweens, we did have the Dodger game on the big screen because it was during the World Series.
Yes.
So yeah, and we had to stop the contest, the Halloween costume contest.
I was watching that.
So we're all for that. But we do have Summer Street Fest coming up August 14th and August 21st. August 14th, we are collaborating with Ahua, and it's going to be a tribute to mariachis and Jalisco style music. It's going to be really fantastic with folklorico dancers, and we're going to have great music and great vibes and a beer garden. So we encourage everybody to come out to that. And also on the 21st, I think this is going to be really special. I feel like it's a tribute to El Rancho High School and retro. And so we've got Expose, who's a high school graduate, who will be there. We've got the Tapia sisters, who will be there as well, high school graduates. And we also have Dawns of Distinction, who will be playing. So it's going to be a really good kind of back in the day tribute.
Yeah, 1980s, and the Dawns of Distinction are the alumni high school, El Rancho High School alumni band.
Oh, it's gonna
So
be
it's gonna be a reunion.
It's going to be really fun. Yeah, we encourage everybody to come out, please. And then also we have National Night Out, which will be we're collaborating and helping our captain and the sheriff's department on July 31st. So we hope you all come out, and it'll be here at City Hall. There is going to be a backpack giveaway as well, and I believe that is Assemblyman Calderon's office who will be giving out backpacks.
Thank you for that, Director Ugar. That's Mayor Pro Tem.
Oh, I forgot to mention, these are the paddles. They too like pickleball, just like us. They took us to this extravagant mega pickleball court, and we got a private lesson from a Chinese coach. Our coach didn't speak English, but we had a competition. My team won, and the coaches, we had them signed. They sent pickleball signed by our coaches. And so we had a lot of fun. It's great exercise. So I'm gonna have to play pickleball at our. Let's go, Johnny.
Well, pickleball is forthcoming in Pico Rivera as well.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
right. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I do just have a few items. I'll go through them quickly. Just a couple of things. Just want to echo. I know this was a team effort to get the World Spirit Festival off the ground, but I got to give kudos to Director Hernandez for leading this effort. I've been a part of the ad hoc committee alongside Councilmember Garcia. There's a lot that went through it. Our city manager, our assistant city manager, our finance department, our Parks and Recs, everybody. At the end of the day, job well done. This is something that has not been done in the city of Pico Rivera, particularly closing down Whittier Boulevard. But I think overall, with exception to, I know, some inconveniences of some residents, particularly on Parsons Boulevard because of the street closure, I think it was definitely a great festival for us to be proud of, and just continues to put us up in the map with the ultimate goal of Pico Rivera 2035, as we're moving the city forward with so many different projects that are forthcoming. One of those, as was talked about, was the pool, $40 million project, groundbreaking, took a while, but I think 2028, if all goes well, we should have this pool ready for our kids and all families to enjoy. So something to look forward to as well. So I do have some questions in regards to some updates, questions that we need updates as it relates to our road improvements. I know Director Negrete, and City Manager, we've spoken about the road improvements that are forthcoming. There's quite a few $1 million that are forthcoming. I know we've discussed that the process will lead us into July, August, and so forth. Can you tell us where we are on those projects, on that road improvement that entails major corridors and residential streets?
Yeah, it's commonly known to us as CIP 50106. It's just under $10 million, roughly $10 million. So we did receive the bids. We're evaluating the bids. I can tell you that we are investigating the low bidder a little bit more, kind of like per your comments earlier. And we're working with our city attorney's office, and we'll be getting ready to bring that back at the next special meeting.
And it is something that's forthcoming, but again, we want to do it right. But I just want to make sure that the residents, I know that's something that we've been doing the road improvements throughout, but this next phase is forthcoming. It's around the corner, and we should be seeing some more construction. It's going to be, again, people complaining about the road closures, but we're going to be improving our roads. So on the same subject regarding roads, I know we have a project that is led by Gateway Cities in regards to the fiber optics. I know that contractors hired by the utility companies come and do repairs into their lines, whether it could be, a gas company or Edison or you name it, and they come, make holes, fix, and leave, and there's a process for it to make sure that that hole that was done was left as the condition that they found it or better. However, this particular project is having, I would probably see there's probably a good 40 to 50 holes throughout our cities, intersections. There's a lot of patchwork going on right now. One, I assume that's not the final, because, as I would be complaining major right now. But two, what is the protocol for them to come back, the contractor, make sure it's done again, as they found it, if not better. Because I would like to see that, because that's a large project and so many holes in our streets. I would like that to come forward to us to make sure that this contractor has completed it and done it to the level that we sets our standard of expectation.
So thank you, Mr. Mayor. There was extensive conversation about this on the plans. So we went back and forth with the designers on that in terms of what our expectation was for the restoration of that pavement, whether it be concrete or asphalt. You're correct. They basically started on the north side of the city on Beverly. They've completed Beverly, come down Rosemead, and now they're in Whittier. They completed Washington, that little small segment up to Passons. And now they're on parts of Whittier and parts of Passons now. We want to get out of Passons before school starts. They're actually well on schedule. They're doing a good job with communicating with us. This is the Gateway Cog project, so they have a contractor that's doing the work, which we've met with several times. Then they have a construction management consulting firm that oversees them with an inspector. And then we have our inspector who is in constant communication with their inspector. So you're correct. Right now, the holes that are out there are temporary in nature. We've gone over what our expectation is in terms of what we want to be put back. That's agreed to on the plan. And what they'll do is they'll do it all at one time. So right now, the primary goal is to get the conduit in the ground, get that in the ground first, so that way they don't have to disrupt all the the different traffic. They're putting in back what they call temporary asphalt. And then once they complete all the underground work, they'll come back and do all the asphalt permanent fixture first to what you exactly said, to either equal to or better than what was out there. What will take a little bit longer is the concrete pieces that are in the intersections, because we don't accept just piecemeal. They have to take out the full panel. So if you ever look at a concrete intersection, it's about 10 by 10, and you'll see the little lines, the score lines. In some cities, you'll see where they just let them rip through it, and they give a little 4-foot strip or whatnot, and it gets uneven. We don't allow that. They have to take the whole piece out. If they even touch, one by one, they got to take it all out. So you'll see that at the end of the project. And I can give you a schedule later, but they are on schedule. They are going to be out of Passings before school starts.
And I think this conduit is a good thing. It's a good investment in our community, so that's a great thing. But, it's the contractors themselves or the subs, whomever they might be, they might just kind of, hey, this is good enough, save some money, and we don't, good enough is not, that's not good for us.
I'm taking this as a compliment, but they always tell me that we're the only city that does these things to them. And we take that as a compliment, that we have a high standard of what they're going to be putting back.
Very well. And because it's Gateway City's COG that's leading this contractor, I just want to make sure it kind of concerns of the oversight. But I'd like to request, if council is okay with it, that this particular one, once you've done those checklist of making sure that it's to our standard, if you can come back to us, Director Negrete, and report that that is the case, so we can make sure that if we're asked by the community, we can say, thumbs up to.
Yeah, happy to do so. And there is SCAG has set up a website for this project. So if you want me to send that out to you, I can. If you should get questions. They have a specific person doing public relations and outreach for this project.
Thank you very much on that. Just for me, lastly, I did also was able to go about a week ago to our sister city, Chapala, Jalisco, Mexico. They put up a street, not a street sign, a sign, Pico Rivera, just similar to what I have a sister city. So they kind of unveiled that and reaffirmed our sister city with our president, Alejandro, that joined us. So it was a great ceremony to reaffirm our sister city relationship. With that, that concludes our good of the order. We do have 2 closed session items that I'll ask our city attorney to lead us into. But I'd like to ask our city council to just hold off. We're going to take that group picture. Before we go into closed session, we're going to adjourn this meeting in memory of Terry Correa, who was a volunteer at RVA, Don's, and Arancho High School. In her memory, we adjourn this meeting. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, as far as closed session, we have the 2 items that are listed on the agenda under conference with legal counsel, existing litigation.
Coming.